you only need one big idea a year. In fact, Steve Jobs probably only had one big idea every 3 or 4 or 5 years. The big question is, where do these big ideas come from that will drive your business success? And where do you get your best ideas? Where are you physically when you get them? I was joking about this boy who does his email in the toilet, but let me ask seriously, think about it for a moment. Where do you get your greatest ideas, your genius? Where does this flash come to you? Put your hands up if it comes to you usually at work. Put your hands up if it comes usually outside of work. This is interesting. If your main job as a leader is vision, and if vision is basically to do with new ideas, then actually it turns out that work is the very worst place to develop our leadership. Next question. Put your hands up if you get your best ideas in the shower. Put your hands up if you get them in the bath, a nice long bath. Put your hands up if you get them walking along the mountains or something like that. Put your hands up if you get them when you are half asleep in that space between being awake and sleep. You know what? This for me is one of the most exciting places. That is why I will never ever go to bed without a pen and a pencil. Me too. Okay, put your hands up if you do that. You carry pen and pencil by the bed at night. You see, this is where innovation happens. You see, you can go to innovation programs. They give you 10 steps to innovation, and they say, we will charge you 500 million euros to come and do an innovation workshop inside your business. And all the time, all you need to do is buy a pencil and a biro and a piece of paper and just record the ideas that come. So the first lesson of innovation then is personal. It's not to do with team. It's to say, when was the last time you put 2 days in your diary and you said, I'm going out? And by the way, do you think you can innovate when the mobile phone is on? No. You can only half innovate. You see, remember that the difference between being world-class genius and just very good is about 0.1%. But that 0.1% makes all the difference in the world. You think about a fantastic musician who is playing on MTV and someone who's really brilliant. The difference between them, you listen to the recordings, it's very, very small. But it's enough to make them a superstar. So these superstar ideas are not going to come while you're on BlackBerry, email, mobile phone, and the rest. You heard this message, I think, yesterday about focus, didn't you? It was about being careful not to allow email to keep crashing into your day. I'm talking about going further, creating some mental space. You know that to write a long document requires you to be at home, probably. Most of us can write a long document at home in 3 hours when our mind is perfectly clear. At work, it could take you 3 months and it will be bad. Yeah? So we begin to understand that first rule of innovation then. Find out where you get your best ideas and spend as much time there as you possibly can, as a matter of survival for your business. This is not, oh, I don't think I can afford the time. How can you possibly afford not to? The whole future of your business could depend on creating this space. And it's the same if you teach in a business school. It's exactly the same principle. Your new research ideas will come out of the space that you put in your diary just to think. Your brain is the most important asset that you have. It's your genius which creates the future. And look what happens with Google. Google only allow their staff to spend 70% of time on their actual job. 20% is on new ideas to improve their own area, and 10% is on wild thinking or innovation about anything in the universe that could be interesting to Google in the future. So that is a standard for us. The second issue is, why do you get your ideas? Most innovation happens not just because, oh, I had a nice idea. It happens when an idea connects with the biggest driver of the future, which is emotion. It's the idea and the passion, and they fuse together, and there is an explosion. And the more passion you have, the less you need the ideas, because the passion will drive that genius. The less passion you have, the more difficult it will be to innovate. Let me give you an example of it. Imagine a pharmaceutical company. You're a pharma company in Madrid, and you make medicine. And this could be a real story. We have an emergency conference here in Salamanca, and this is the reason. I have called you together because this bottle is killing people. This bottle is medicine for people who are 75 years old, and it contains some very powerful medicine for the heart. It's very dangerous for children, so we have a special top which makes it very hard for the child to open. Last week we had 2 cases where people were discovered dead on the floor in their home by their children. The reason? They could not get the bottle open. They were dead holding the bottle in their hands. They died in the act of trying to open the medicine. Sadly, and this is very confidential, so we turn off the videotape. Sadly, I have in my pocket here 5 cases where children have died because of this product. Each child was between the ages of 2 and 5, and they died with the bottle in their hand on the floor of their home. Solve the problem, please. We have to find an answer. I do not want anyone to leave this conference center or this hotel or this city until we have found this solution. You are booked out of every meeting. I don't care if it takes 1 day or a week or a month. It's worth it, isn't it? We think there's probably at least 1 child every week that is dying because of this, but most of the deaths are being missed. We think at least 1 old person a week is dying because they cannot get the bottle open. Fix it, please. Fix it. Now tell me, do you think you need a change management program? No. Do you think you need an innovation workshop? No. Because we've touched passion, yeah? I tell you this, you will have the answer. You will probably have the answer by 5 o'clock today. And if it's not in this room, you know what we will do? We will start to use some different techniques to innovate, and I'll show you 1 or 2. But it's very difficult to get the same passion when all you're talking about is cutting costs. You see, people think about cutting costs in different ways, and there are lots of ways of cutting costs and innovating, but they are fundamentally not interesting to me. But if you can show people why it matters, if you can convince people of the urgency, you can take every idea seriously, reward people who are prepared to take risks, then you will find your way. And as Steve Jobs said, innovation is just having enough dots to connect. It's usually a way of trying to see old things in a new way. It's trying to get oxygen into the room. Once a new idea springs into existence, it can never be unthought. It's a creation. Most innovation means breaking something which appears to be impossible. Every act of creation is an act of destroying something else. Most innovation is connecting of 2 different things together, like let's say children playing with water in Africa. What do? we create a wheel which they play on, and as they play on, the wheel goes round and it pumps water up. And this is the result. And here's another one, robots and cells inside human beings. This is a robot which can detect cells and inject genetic code into a skin cell or a nerve cell. Can we do it? Yes, we can. It's called a human virus, and we now create them in the laboratory to attack cancer and things like that. Look at the $40 trillion green technology boom. I think of this extraordinary invention. This is a tomato, but a different one than usual. There is a company called British Sugar was looking to solve a problem. They needed cheap power, so they decided to create their own power using a gas turbine. They collect the power and they use the heat from the turbine, and it cooks the sugar. Then they decided to collect the gas from the turbine and put a huge pipe running 2.5 kilometers into a greenhouse, and the greenhouse in there is a huge farm. It grows 35 million tomatoes every year, and as a result of connecting this carbon dioxide warm gas into the greenhouse, they now grow not 35 million tomatoes, but 70 million tomatoes a year. In fact, all of you in this room will have eaten tomatoes that have been built from the carbon dioxide waste from a power station. All of you in Europe have eaten these tomatoes. I think it's a clever idea. What about profiting from power cuts by selling your power back when you don't need it? It's happening now. I think about the incredible innovation in Spain using solar cell technology. The ability, we now have the ability to move power from Spain to Russia with almost zero loss. These are powerful innovations. They come from passion and ideas fused together. So there are economic reasons, but also environmental reasons. When you put passion and power, you get innovation, all kinds of things happening. Gas and rubber, the ability to convert rubber tires instantly to gas which you can burn in your kitchen in a really clean way. These are exciting things. And when you can create that sense of excitement and vision in your team, then innovation will happen. In almost every company, I find low-hanging fruit. Fruit that can be easily picked. These are innovations that are sitting there in the minds of your people. If you only ask them, they come tumbling out. But often they are afraid to give you their best ideas because they are worried that you will think they are stupid, that it will damage their job. And one of the things we need to do is create an environment where people feel happy and confident to tell you their wonderful ideas. And that is one of the most wonderful things that can happen. Now, let's imagine the pharmaceutical company. We've been in this hotel now for 3 days, and we need more help. One of the most powerful ways to increase innovation is open innovation. And this is a technique which is being used now by many of the largest corporations, whether it's Hewlett-Packard or GlaxoSmithKline and or BP. What happens is you put the problem out to the internet community. So we're using all the social networking tools to solve a problem. I did it the other day. I have 42,000 people following me on Twitter, so I put out a problem. I had an answer within 15 seconds. So you say we have this problem with these containers, we need some solutions, and we offer a prize. And straight away you get maybe 10,000, 20,000 of the brightest brains in Spain all working on the same challenge together. It's one of the most exciting ways to grow the future. So, in conclusion, what is it all about as I finish? It's all about building a better world at the end of the day. We started by looking at the customers in this uncertain economic environment. We recognized that the future is about passion and emotion. It's about understanding where our customers are. And as we put them first, we will find that the customer drives our innovation. The customer focuses our marketing. The customer captures the very beating heart of every part of what we do. And when we do that, we find our own staff starting to capture that same passion. And they're then proud to go to work. They go to work because they find it exciting and fun, stimulating, challenging, amazing, extraordinary. They do it because we care for their families and their friends. We do it because we're a good community employer. And they do it because somehow they think that when they go to work, they contribute in some small way to the lives of people around them becoming better, whether it's the people in the work, or whether it's people in the community, whether it's the customers we serve, or our wider humanity. That's what it's all about at the end of the day, and that's what this business school is for. And every business school can only have one purpose, really, which is to help create a better kind of future for you, your family, your friends, for those you care for, and for our wider humanity. And as we do that, we will find ourselves rewarded with profit, with loyalty, and devotion. Thank you very much.